NeonicVoid Productions presents.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Book Watchers. Yeah, you are joined today by two of your most favorite gays of all times. Yeah, I'm Jacob, of course,
And
and I'm joined with this loser.
Loser? You mean I'm a wiener. Hi, it's your boy, Devin. I was about to say, come to you live, not live. This ain't the radio station. This ain't college where I'm on the radio for a whole semester. That was a day. That was a time. But hi, how are you? What's good? What's poppin'?
We come to you live from a pre-recorded audio.
From 2 bedrooms of the nerdy gays.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with that. Yeah. So today we are. What did we do last week? We did
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. That's right. We did Salem's Lot. So today, to keep on the vampire theme, it is going to be a hot. Oh no, did I not save it? Oh shit! Did I not save it? Dracula Salem's Lot. Uh-oh. I'm gonna be so pissed if I did not save the episode from Salem's Lot. Oh my god. Am I gonna have a fucking... Did I not? Hold up. It might be my downloads. Hold the fuck up. Did I not? 23rd. And then this one was the 26th. And this...
You didn't save last week's episode?
I did not save last week's episode.
You whore.
Think I did. Wait, hold up. Let me double check because I did save one on Wednesday, and I'm like, was that Book Watchers or was that Spook? That was Spook. So no, I did not save Sunday's episode from the Book Watchers. I can't believe I didn't save it. I thought I did. Yeah, recording of it. No, it did not. I did not. You can get mad at me. I did not.
You whore. That was a mess.
Know.
Well, that whole episode's a mess. You think I want to do it again? Like that was a messy episode for me because
that was the universe saying, "Don't save this episode."
I mean, we could just say fuck it. We don't have to redo it.
You don't have to do Salem's Lot.
No.
Okay, so hi. Last week we would have done Salem's Lot, but my ass forgot to save it. So today we're starting the theme of vampires. My God.
With Dracula.
Yes.
Honestly, we should have just started with Dracula anyway because it's Dracula.
Yeah, it's Dracula. You're right.
It's Dracula. It's one of the oldest. It's one of the oldest vampire novels.
Yeah.
Of course, Carmilla, I think, is older.
Yes,
but
Carmilla dates it.
Carmilla does predate it, but Dracula is arguably more popular and more well known. So we're going to be talking about Dracula first now, and we'll be continuing this vampire theme. How long are we going to be doing this? We're just going to do a bunch of vampire novels.
We could do, well, Salem's Lot's out of the question now, and Salem's Lot's kind of boring anyway, so we're not. Y'all ain't missing too much with that one.
Yeah,
Currently,
here's we'll just do a basic rundown. Okay. Salem's Lot. Vampire comes to a small town in what was it, Maine,
yeah,
called Jerusalem's Lot, or known by the locals as Salem's Lot. This vampire begins feeding on the townspeople, and eventually the entire town gets turned into vampires except for an author and a little kid who both manage to escape. And when they eventually do come back to Salem's Lot because they're all like, yeah, we can't leave it like this. And they set a fire to try to burn the whole town to the ground and kill the vampires in it. And when the book ends, it's left open ended, so there's no real. It's not really clear whether or not what they did worked or not. However, Stephen King himself did allude to the fact that that did not work. So that was
Dun, dun,
Salem's
dun.
Lot, y'all.
Salem's Lot in a nutshell, pretty much.
Pretty much. And yes, it was adapted into a movie a long time ago. I never watched it because, I think it's a good thing we didn't save that episode because it's the whole theme of Book Watchers is we review both the book and the movie that was based off of the book, and I couldn't find Salem's Lot anywhere, streaming or otherwise.
It was the universe saying, "Don't keep this episode."
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Stephen King, great author, I love his books. Just like many other authors, you have your hits and you have your misses, and I personally think Salem's Lot was a miss. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dracula.
now this is going to be the first, not the first, but it's only one. I guess one of the first episodes that I'm front running. I am taking the reins to. Now.
Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, Devin will be the one reviewing Dracula today.
Yes, because it was my idea to do Dracula. Because actually, I don't know what brought up the whole conversation. I guess it was Salem's Lot, and they're like, "Oh my god, let's do vampires." So to start things off, we're doing the story, of course, Dracula by Bram Stoker. Now, little context. Bram Stoker, or Abraham Stoker, was born in Dublin, Ireland on November 8th, 1847. A fellow Irishman. And there's a lot of, gosh, where do I even begin? There's a lot of context with this author and some of his works, especially with Dracula, that kind of pokes at the fact, maybe he's a gay man. He's a closeted gay man. Closeted gay man.
Who? Bram Stoker?
Bram. Yes. Yes. Most definitely a closeted gay man because Dracula is queer as hell. At the
true.
base level of Dracula, you can interpret Dracula as an allegory for him wanting to be with a straight man, but he sees himself as a monster because of it, aka the vampire. Because we're soon going to find out that Dracula has a weird fascination with Jonathan Harker. And at one point says, "This man belongs to me," in a very predatorial way. And more of a this seems more than just a biting of the neck and sucking of the blood moment here. So there's a lot of queer history going on with Dracula. And I don't think it's ever been technically said that the author himself was a gay man. But there are a lot of little hints and nods pointing to that this man might have been in the closet. Granted, this wouldn't be the first time a horror writer, an old school horror writer, would be gay. Mary Shelley herself, the writer of Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, is a lesbian. So it's not the first time you see a very famous classic horror novel, pretty much in the gothic horror era of writing, be gay. So there's all of that. And I will get into more of the queerness of Dracula as we go through the story, because it's very apparent if you know where to look. Or when you really think about it, it very much points to that. And when I read the story back in the day when I was a lot younger, my late teen years, I didn't really see it because I always thought it as a animal versus his prey. But the older I got and the more obviously I've worked on myself and got more comfortable with my own sexuality, being a bisexual man, I started reading in between the lines on some of Dracula, especially Dracula's stuff, as well as just horror in general. Because if you don't know, horror is built on the backs of the queers. Just saying. I still stand by that statement. We wouldn't have the horror we have, the horror genre we have today without the gays. Period.
Oh wow!
The whole
I never heard this one before. I never heard that statement before. It's not like you said it like a dozen times.
I did. I have.
In this episode, the last episode, and the episode before that.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's part of the context. Shut up, you. There's all documentary of it. Watch it on Shudder. It's cool. Now, to get into the nitty-gritty of Dracula, because we all are here for vampires and Van Helsing. Yes, Van Helsing is in the book. You don't know. Now you know. So, the story of Dracula starts out with the character known as Jonathan Harker. He is the main character throughout the book for the most part. He is a young English lawyer, and he's traveling to Castle Dracula in the Eastern European country known as Transylvania to meet with the nobleman known as Count Dracula about a real estate transaction all the way from England. So, as Harker gets his way to the countryside, he meets a bunch of local peasants. Now, this is a broad overview of the story. There are some things that are basically hitting the key points and the meat of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the country. He gets to the countryside and he meets a bunch of the peasant locals, and they warn him about his journey or his destination to Castle Dracula. They give him crucifixes, they give him charms, they give him anything and everything to ward off evil. And he's not very well versed in the local language, but the only thing he hears or that he translates through the strange words that they're saying to him, he translates them later to vampire. And they're like, what the fuck? What do you mean vampire? It's just a man for a transaction I'm meeting, right? Wrong. So from there, Harker was to meet Dracula at a carriage that's planned to pick him up. Or not Dracula was going to send a carriage for him and take him up to the castle from the town that he's residing in. And of course, the peasants are just like, "Oh God, you're fucked, dude." You're basically like, "Dude, that's evil shit up there, bro. Here's a crucifix. Here's a cross. Don't go up there." At one point, what a little old lady was telling him, "Don't go up there. Go home. Turn back around. You could turn back around right now, and you don't have to ever go up there." And he's like, "No, I have to go up there." She's like, "Well, if you're gonna go up there, here's a crucifix. Fucking take this. You're gonna need it. It's holy up there." And he meets the Count's carriage as planned by the date, because he was supposed to meet at some absurd hour in the middle. I think it was like in the middle, like early morning or late at night. It was one of the two, but it was at some absurd hour to meet with this carriage. And the journey to the castle is fun is a very loose word for that journey, because he comes across a bunch of angry wolves at one point. The journey was not an easy ride. But what's funny though is about the wolves and the person that's driving the carriage. And there's also when we get more in detail with it, there's also a weird connection with wolves and Dracula and how is Dracula a werewolf? Question mark. Do werewolves, the idea of a werewolf, come from vampires? Question mark. But
You know,
not.
in terms of like Bram Stoker's lore, which is loosely based off of European vampire myths, Strigoi,
Yeah,
shit like that. Um, they're also they're also shapeshifters.
that is true
So
too.
it's really not an issue of him being an act like the origin of werewolves, but more just like he can shapeshift into a wolf.
Yes, he can
Uh,
shapeshift into a wolf, but there's also some context, historical context that Stroker got his inspiration from to do this. It's a little weird. The werewolf and the vampire can get a little murky depending on where you are in the world. So that's why when you always see a vampire or a werewolf in a story, there's usually if there's another monster or something trying to kill him, it's usually the opposite because they have a long like intertwining history between those two, between the werewolves and the vampires. But there is some. I'll have to find it again, but there is some context that kind of blurs the line a little bit between the two. Do I think Dracula's a werewolf? No, I don't. Again, I agree. I think he's a shapeshifter that likes to take the form of a wolf, of a very large wolf for whatever reason, for dramatic effect. But
yeah,
there is
if you
some.
want, if you want like to look up more of like the origins of werewolves, like um one of the earliest stories about a man turned into a wolf is
Mhm.
actually King Lyconius.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. Hold on, it's either King like. Hold on, Lycaon from it is so King Lycaon is he was the king of the ancient Greek city of Lycosura of
yeah.
Lycosura, and he is believed to be the very first werewolf because
Ooh.
he Zeus graced his kingdom with his presence one time,
Mhm.
and of course, king had to follow the general law of hospitality and make sure that the king of the gods was well taken care of. But Lycaon was understandably doubtful. Like, is this guy really Zeus? So the thing about Lycaon is that he was a fucking psychopath.
Mhm.
So in order to test Zeus to see if he's really a god, he fed Zeus flesh, human flesh, and depending on the myth, you follow. Depending on which story you follow, the human flesh that he tried to feed Zeus was actually the flesh of his own children, Lycaon's
Oh.
own, Lycaon's own children.
Uh-oh.
Like he slaughtered his own children and tried to feed it to Zeus. But Zeus, being a god, knew immediately what was going on and understandably was pissed and cursed Lycaon to take the shape of a wolf.
I did not know
So
that. Oh.
yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a more like that was just a rough general idea of what the story is of that story, but if like you can definitely find more about it
I
online
most certainly
and
will.
do your own research. But that's not what we're talking about today.
No, werewolves will be another time because there are a bunch of books for that too.
Oh yes.
So back to Jonathan Harker's journey. So yes, he gets nearly attacked by a bunch of angry wolves on his way up to the castle. And upon arriving at the quote unquote crumbling old castle, janky ass looking piece of shit. Harker finds the elderly man known as the Count Dracula. This old man is very well educated and he's very hospitable gentleman. He's very welcoming to Harker. But it becomes very apparent and very apparent indeed after a few days of staying there. Because there's certain rules around the castle that Harker has to follow. Don't go in certain wings, don't go in certain rooms. You're more than welcome to go in these certain parts of the castle, like the library, blah, blah, blah. He's only allowed to go to certain areas. And his Dracula's sleep schedule is the opposite of Harker's. So when he's asleep, Dracula's awake and vice versa. Harker starts catching on there's some weird stuff going on here. And it becomes very apparent to him that he is a prisoner of the castle now. And he's writing letters to his fiance. They're not married yet. Or are they married yet? I can't remember. Is Mia and Jonathan married yet? Or they're fiance?
I think him and Mia were just fiancés.
I think they're just fiancés, yeah. So he was writing letters to her during this whole time. But yeah, he effectively figures out, he kind of comes to the conclusion, I think I'm a prisoner in this castle. And Harker starts investigating everything in this castle and Dracula. And the more he learns, the more uneasy he becomes throughout this whole story. And he realizes that the Count possesses these supernatural powers and intentions, especially with him, that make him very uncomfortable and like, oh shit, I need to get the fuck out of here. One night in particular, he is sleeping and he's nearly attacked by 3 beautiful, gorgeous women. Serving. These women are serving cunt. They're serving, mama. But all 3 of these women are like fondling over him, and one of them's like, oh, fresh meat. And one touches him. Dracula's in the background. Or so, well, no, that's so it is Dracula. He comes in and he basically tells the 3 women, back the fuck up. This is my man. This is mine. He is mine. He is not yours. Here's a sack of a dead baby. Eat it. That's another thing. People end up dead in the village below and babies go missing and shit. So there's the whole fucking thing. There's also, how did I forget? Wasn't there a whole incident where he got to the castle or some shit and someone like killed a child? The whole like, oh god.
There was like a thing where like they did tell him about it, like a child had gone missing before he'd gone up there. And I think they either found its corpse, like its dead corpse, or I forgot.
I think it was when he was in town, he came across there's a missing child or whatnot. And he lifted up the bag and he gave it to the 3 women, and you can assume that was the child. And the 3 vampire women had at it, at the corpse of whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, keep going, because there's a reason why all these children are going missing. So,
and he tells the vampires that, of course, Harker belongs to him. And fearing for his life, Harker attempts to leave the castle by climbing down the walls. Now, from this point, we jump over to England and Mia, Mina, his betrothed. She is with her friend Lucy, and Lucy apparently has been receiving marriage proposals from 3 men. Dr. John, oh god, I don't even know how to say that name. Sward, Seward.
Wait, what's her name? What was the name?
Lucy got 3 marriage proposals, right? First guy's name was Dr. John Sward. Eward. Seward.
Stewart. Yeah.
Seward. Arthur Homewood and an American named Quincy Morris. Though saddened by the fact that she must reject two of these men, she accepts Arthur's proposal. Now, Mina visits Lucy at her seaside town in Whitby? And a Russian ship is wrecked on the shore near the town with all its crew and captain. Crew missing and the captain's dead.
The Demeter.
If you don't, by the time this thing comes out, the movie The Last Voyage of the Demeter will already hit theaters, and that's what the movie's about, that journey, because Dracula gets on that boat. Very soon to find out anyway.
I can't wait.
I know, same.
Because, like, god damn it, I'm looking forward to that movie so bad. It's coming out at the end of this month, right?
August. Yeah, August or September, yeah. Relatively soon, next couple weeks. At the time of this recording.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
Hell yeah. So yeah, the ship comes up to the shoreline of this seaside town in England. Crew's missing, captain's dead. The only sign of life aboard is a large dog that bounds ashore and disappears into the countryside. That's not suspicious at all. Of course not.
No.
The only cargo on the ship is a set of 50 boxes of earth shipped from Castle Dracula. Not long after, Lucy, homegirl to Harker's betrothed, she suddenly starts sleepwalking. And one night, Mina finds Lucy in the town cemetery and believes she sees a dark form with glowing red eyes bending over Lucy. Lucy then becomes pale and very ill. Dun dun dun. And then when she gets a closer look, she bears two tiny little red marks on her throat, from which neither the doctor nor Mina can account for how she got those. Where do these little marks come from? That's weird. So, the doctor, one of her betrothed, mind you, Lucy's betrothed, or people that tried to propose to her, he got in contact with his old mentor, Professor Van Helsing. Oh, I love Van Helsing so much. So good. So, suffering from a brain fever, we jump back to Harker. Harker appears in a city, Budapest. Did I say? Yeah, Budapest. Mina goes to join him. Budapest?
Yeah, dude.
Budapest,
if you watch the Black Widow, you'll find, as an American, you'll learn how to pronounce Budapest.
Oh, Budapest. You're right. You're right. So he reappears in the city of Budapest. Mina goes to join him. And then Van Helsing arrives in the city of Whitby. And after his examination of Lucy, he orders that her chamber is covered in garlic and a traditional charm against vampires. For a time, this seems to ward off Lucy's illness, but then she begins to recover, but her mother, unaware of the garlic's powers. Garlic. I always found it funny that garlic and vampires are a thing. That's how you know, ladies and gents, I'm not a vampire because I love garlic too much. Unwittingly removes the plants from the room. So his mother comes in and says, what's all this garlic here? Ugh, move this garlic out of here. So she takes it all out. And Lucy is just sitting there in her room, open for an attack by whatever bit her. I mean, I think you can put two and two together and what better, y'all. So the doctor and Van Helsing spend several days trying to revive Lucy, performing performing 4 blood transfusions. Their efforts ultimately resulted in absolutely jack shit. Nothing worked. The men, one night, the men let down their guard and a wolf breaks into the house. The shot gives Lucy's mother a fatal heart attack, and the wolf attacks Lucy, killing her. So Lucy's dead, y'all. She dead. She a corpse.
And really quick, to answer the question, why does garlic repel vampires?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an so it's more of a superstitious belief than part of the actual myth. But it's long been known that garlic has strong antibiotic properties,
Mm-hmm.
and many people believed that vampirism is a result of a blood disease. So by carrying garlic around, they can somehow ward off the disease.
That's one way to look. Yeah. No, I mean that's interesting that they used garlic. That garlic was used for that. Try to ward off vampirism. Interesting. More you know, kids. More you know. Thank you, Jacob. You're more than welcome to pop in with these little tidbits and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Keep yourself busy.
That's what I've been doing.
So from there, after Lucy is dead, the bitch is dead. Van Helsing.
Don't quote me on this, gentleman. Yeah, Van Helsing went up to checked her body, looked at the others, and said, "Don't quote me on this, gentleman, but I think this one is deceased."
She's a corpse. She dead. So which leads to Homewood, the doctor, and Morris, the 3 men that proposed to her. They go to her tomb, right? Van Helsing convinces the other men that Lucy belongs to the quote unquote undead. In other words, she has been transformed into whatever bit her, aka Dracula bit her, so the bitch is a vampire. So the men remain unconvinced until they see Lucy preying on a defenseless child. Because apparently vampires love to eat children.
So, so I just wanted to. This was the important fact I wanted to mention earlier, but I wanted you to get to this part. So the blood of a baby or young children is very pure. It has purifying and restorative properties to a vampire.
Makes
So
sense.
when Jonathan first encountered Count Dracula, um, Dracula looked like an old, decrepit man, like an elderly man. So, and the thing is because Dracula is immortal, he cannot really age or die, but vampires technically can be affected by age if they don't have a sufficient enough amount of blood. So since Dracula decided he wanted to leave in a better state. So he started kidnapping and consuming children's blood in order to restore his youthful appearance.
Yes, because he was getting, that's a fact, that's something I did happen to leave out, that he was getting younger as the story went on when it was back with Harker in the castle.
Yes, and there's a point when Harker was found and brought back to England. Him and Mina were spending time in a park, and I hope I'm not jumping too far ahead for you, Devin, but Mina, in her letters to Lucy, writes that he notices a gentleman in the park, and he gets really freaked out and says he's so much younger, like something like along the lines of like he looks so much, he's younger than before.
Yeah.
And this is referring to the fact that because Dracula had regularly consumed children's blood, he restored his own youth.
Yes, exactly. So from there, you see Lucy preying on a defenseless child. Now we know the context of why children. And from which convinces them that they must destroy Lucy. So they agree to follow the ritual of Van Helsing that he is proposing to ensure that Lucy's soul will return to eternal rest. While the undead Lucy sleeps, they take a stake and put it through her heart. The men then cut off her head and stuff her mouth with garlic. After this deed is done, they pledge to destroy Dracula himself from that point forward, from that point on.
Yep. And I just also want to say when they stake her, cut off her head, and stuff her mouth with garlic, this not only successfully kills her, like for real, but they also notice that it almost seems like her corpse and her very spirit itself was finally able to rest, because they could see it, like her more go like as a vampire, she had this unearthly beauty to her, but in nature, anything that's like extremely beautiful is often very dangerous.
Yep, deadly.
Very deadly. But it's almost like once they do that, they could see her body almost like return to its more humanly self.
Yeah.
And they could feel her presence, like her spirit, and they could tell that what they'd done had finally put her to rest.
Yeah, exactly. So Lucy's dead. Dead. She deceased. She literally a corpse. A headless corpse with garlic. Yum, I guess. You do you, Rem. So then we jump to now married. Mina and Jonathan return to England to join forces with the others. Mina helps Van Helsing collect the various diary and journal entries that Harker and the doctor and the others have written, attempting to piece together a narrative that will lead them to the Count himself. Learning all that they can about Dracula's affairs, Van Helsing and his band track down the boxes of earth that the Count uses as a sanctuary during the night from Dracula's castle. So they basically took a bunch of dirt from Transylvania and transported it with him. So this effort seems to be going well. From there, then one of the doctor's mental patients, Renfield, lets Dracula into the asylum where the others are staying, allowing the Count to prey upon Mina. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
As Mina begins to slowly change into a vampire, the men sterilize the boxes of earth, forcing Dracula to flee to the safety of his native Transylvania. The men pursue the Count, dividing their forces and tracking him down across the land and sea. Dedication, y'all. Dedication. Van Helsing takes Mina with him during all this, of course. They cleanse the castle by killing the 3 wives of Dracula and sealing the entrances with sacred objects. The others catch up to the Count just as he is about to reach his castle. And Jonathan and Quincy Morris, use knives and they fucking butcher him. Dead. Deceased.
Yeah. Yeah, Dracula's death was very brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier, I'm sorry, I was distracted by something, but did you, when they were beginning their quest to chase Dracula across Europe, Van Helsing did a purifying rite
Yes.
on every member of the party, and just like a quick little blessing in the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. I forgive you of your sins, my son and my daughter, things like that. And Catholic tradition, they either like seal the deal with putting a little bit of holy water on your forehead, or like touching your forehead with a piece of the way bread, the manna.
Mm-hmm.
right? And the
Yep.
communion, basically, the communion bread. And when he did that to Mina, because she was already like I think Dracula actually fed her his blood.
Yes, I think that's how the attack transpired.
Yeah. And when he did that, it made her unclean. So when Van Helsing put the communion bread on her forehead, it actually burned her. And there was this whole dramatic scene, like everyone was really shocked, and Mina freaks out, and she's like, "Unclean, I'm unclean." But once they track down Dracula and they kill him, it ends the curse for her.
Yeah, it keeps the whole tradition of you kill the main vampire, the others will
Mm-hmm.
cease to be vampires because they're all tied to him. So I could see where that modern day trope came from, was because that kind of happened to Mina, is that she lost her vampirism when Dracula died. Yeah, he gets brutally murdered, and that's pretty much the end. Outside of like Mina not being a vampire anymore.
Yep, yep, yep. And everyone lives happily ever after. Devin? Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you cut out. You went silent for a
yeah,
second.
my internet went for a second. So what did I miss? I heard you say, and
No,
they
that,
lived happily ever after.
yeah, and then I was just waiting for you to respond, and I was just like,
Hello.
Devin, hello.
But yes, they live happily ever after. Or did they? No, they did.
Done,
He's
done,
dead. He's dead.
done, deceased.
And that is the story of Dracula. Now, more historical context. Dracula is based on a person named
Vladimir
Ghost.
Tepesh,
Yes, Vladimir Depeche.
Prince of Wallachia, and or wait, Wallachia was in modern day Transylvania, right?
Is Transylvania actually even a country? I know that's probably a dumb question. Is that actually a country?
Uh, Great. Now you got me. You got
Oh,
me questioning
Transylvania.
that.
Oh, Transylvania is a region in Romania. Okay. That's why I thought. I'm like, isn't that
Yeah.
Romania? Yeah,
So then, what was
it's
Wallachia? What was Wallachia then?
that's a good question.
Because I know it's like there's a Wallachia. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like in modern day Romania.
Yeah. Yes, because Transylvania is a region in Romania that's where the legend of Dracula came from, in the fortress. Got it. Yep. Yep. So Romania, because I thought it was Romanian. I'm like, Romania. Okay, cool. So I was right. Romania.
Okay, it is a real place.
Yes. It's a region, but not necessarily a nation or a country. But yes, so I would love to go to the castle of Vladimir.
Right.
Love to go to that castle.
Yeah.
That's a real place you can go to, by the way, too.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, Dracula was inspired by a real historical figure, Vladimir Tepesh of Wallachia, which is now modern day Romania.
Yep.
Um,
Vlad the
he was
Impaler
also
was also his name.
Yep, because the way he dealt with his enemies was by impaling them on big ass stakes.
His
And
enemies, his townfolk, his peasants, you looked at them the
and
wrong way, he would impale you.
right, and the funny thing is that modern day Romanians, when they teach their history to their kids, um, it's not in a negative light. He's considered a hero in their country. Like while the rest of the world looks at him like, oh my god, he's a fucking sicko. Because the way just because of how brutally he treated, he treated his enemies and other people. But when you look at it, Lee, from an objective standpoint, he actually did what it took to protect his country.
Yeah.
And the method of impaling, uh, sticking up, impaling people on stakes was a great deterrent because it kept like the Ottomans from invading.
Yeah.
Because they tried to invade, and they came across they were coming up to his castle, and they found all of those. They found all the stakes with people on it, and suddenly, like they're like, yeah, actually, we're in the wrong place. Yeah,
I think we took a left turn when we should have gone right. Yeah, let's go somewhere else,
yeah.
y'all.
Sorry about that. No. This isn't. We're my bad. We'll go
Our
ahead and
bad,
just
bro.
yeah. We're sorry. You have a great day.
You have a great day, sir. No need to get up. No need to tell your guards to impale us. We'll see ourselves out. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye. But yeah, Dracula in modern day culture, in popular culture, is inspired. Like, there's so many different movies, games, TV shows that he has appeared in. Of course, you have the obvious, like the 19. When did that movie come out? Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that was 90.
92.
92.
Yeah. With Gary Oldman as Dracula.
Yes.
Love him. And of course, Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker.
Yeah, so good.
And Winona Ryder as Mina Harker.
Yes.
But aside
So
from
good.
that, there's been so many other things that have been inspired by this book. There's been several Dracula movies, including Dracula Untold with Luke Evans.
Love that one.
Dracula 2000 with Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Dracula has made appearances in so many different other movies and TV shows. Of course, you got Van Helsing. Like, you have Van Helsing, where he's just a total queen.
Oh, he's a total queen.
And
Total queen with his gaggle of women.
He's just rolling in pussy.
Oh, but he wants that Van Helsing.
Yep. And you have there's a whole video game based on that where you play as Dracula. He's the main character, Castlevania. And then of course you have the Castlevania Netflix TV show.
I fucking love that show. It's so good.
And by the time this is posted, the next season of Castlevania, the Netflix TV show, will be out.
It's the side series. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
ready.
September.
Yes, until September 28th? Question mark? I think so.
Yes.
I am so ready.
And I think this season is going to be centered around Trevor's son.
Yes.
So it's not going to be Trevor Belmont. It is, God, well, what's his name?
I have no idea.
Castlevania Nocturne. That's the new series. That's the new. Huh?
Yeah.
Hello. I'm here.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I was looking at my internet like, wait, did my internet cut out? and then you dipped, and I was like, "Oh,
Like, hello.
hello."
Anyway, continue on.
Yeah, so September 28th. And then I'm trying to look up the kid's name. So, Rick, Richter or Richter Belmont,
Yes, Belmont.
and this is going to be taking place during the French Revolution.
We love a French Revolution.
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Is he? Wait, is this Trevor's son? And Trevor and Sypha's son?
I think so.
We'll find out when the show comes out. But yeah, so anyway, Castlevania is one. It was originally a video game, and then now it's a popular TV show on Netflix.
Yep.
Oh god, there's
So much.
there's so much that Dracula himself has inspired. He's even like starred in and everything. But yeah.
Also, if you
He
haven't
would
watched
not-
Renfield, watch Renfield.
Oh, I just watched it. It was so
Love it.
good.
It's so Nicolas Cage as Dracula, and Nicholas, what's his face as Renfield? So good.
Yeah.
Vampires are everything.
Yeah, it's just Dracula's like Nicolas Cage's Dracula is just toxic as fuck, but I love it.
I mean, that's pretty accurate. The Dracula, I would say he's very toxic.
Oh yeah.
Of course, if you want to read more about Dracula, you can always read the actual book, or you can be like me and have the book and then go out and discover that they made a manga of the original story. So there's a company called Manga Classics. It takes old stories like Dracula, Frankenstein, Pride and Prejudice, Les Miserables, a bunch of those stories, takes the original text and makes them into manga. Hamlet, all of the William Shakespeare stories are in manga form. And I bought it thinking, wanting to see, okay, how accurate is this? Do they actually take the text and they turn it into manga? Do they change anything? Like they modernize it? How accurate is it? And I was reading Dracula, and let me tell y'all, it's pretty accurate. So if you don't want to sit there and read an actual like book of Dracula, you're more than welcome to read a manga based around the actual story of Dracula because it's accurate to a T on what happens in the book. And it's entertaining as hell. The artwork is fabulous. Keep that in mind for you all who don't like to read books of classic stories, but you love comics or manga. Manga Classics is the option for you. This is not sponsored by God. I wish it fucking was. I love them. I also have Frankenstein in this format, as well as some of the Shakespeare stuff. So, future knowledge for y'all if y'all want to go looking.
Yeah.
But before we end today's episode, what's your favorite iteration of Dracula in film and TV?
Definitely the 1992 Dracula movie, Gary Oldman portrayal of Dracula. Oh, okay, it's a tie between him and the Van Helsing Dracula. I love how they're both like eccentric.
They're both queens.
Yeah. And oh my god, I can't get over that fucking hairstyle from Gary Oldman's one.
I know, it's so ugly and I love it.
Just like tell me drag queens don't use that hairstyle from time to time. I'm pretty sure I've seen that hairstyle many times.
Oh,
Like,
not Jacob coming for drag queens. I
I'm
mean,
not
you're
coming for
right.
drag queens.
I
I'm
mean,
not
you're
going
right
for drag
though.
queens. I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure there's been plenty of drag queens and even hell, just regular queens using that hairstyle.
You're right.
It's big, it's poofy, it's in business for itself.
It's in 100% business.
Uh-huh. And yeah. Though, like, of course Dracula will always be a classic. But I feel like a lot of people avoid Dracula because of how mainstream he is now, and they try to go for like the alternative shit in terms of vampires. And like, since we're gonna be doing a series of vampire novels leading, I don't know how like how long do you want to do vampire novels for? Like, keep up the theme of vampires. You just want to do it for a month, or do you want to like do it for a while?
I think we should do it the initial for the month of October. So I think that'd be a good point. Then kind of go off, and if we find out, and if we find something else that's vampire related, like, oh my god, let's do it, and we come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, if we can do a month, let's say we do a month. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah. Because we got the next 2 weeks planned out. We just need one more.
And Tiff wants to do. Well, she's mentioned Interview with a Vampire several times. I don't know if she
Yes,
wants
that is
to get
true.
in on that. If they want to
We
get
could
in on
see
that or not.
when we
Yeah,
see when we see them this week. We could ask and see if there's something they want to do. Because I can go get that book.
we're doing Carmilla. And we're gonna do Carmilla too, right?
Yes, we are going to do Carmilla, but that'll be in 2 weeks, and that'll be another episode. I will be front running because we gotta do the first vampire story ever written in publication, anyway. The lesbian
Hell
vampire
yeah!
herself,
Hell
inspired
yeah!
Dracula.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course, next week we're gonna be doing 30 Days of Night. At least,
Yes,
at the very least, we're gonna be doing the first volume, which is the one the movie is based off of.
yes,
And it's a part of a trilogy.
yeah.
So like, I personally am going to be like, I'm probably going to end up buying the next two issues this week to read them, because it was good. Such a
Oh
good
yeah, they're good.
They're
They're
so
good.
good. And then after I read those, I'm probably going to end up buying the Dead Space trilogy. There's a 30 Days of Night, Dead Space. So these vampires in space.
Love that. Yes, 30
Love
Days
it.
Night is next week in some form, at least the original miniseries. But if both of us or one of us or whatever reads further on into the story, we'll be talking about that as well as the movie. There is a sequel to the movie 30 Days a Night, but that's not important because it's not that good. There's also a
Yeah, no,
series, but again, they're
it
not
was
that good.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
the original movie will be the one we talk about in correlation to the miniseries, and then if we decide to go on further, we'll go on further. But at least get that at the bare minimum.
hear it.
So, also, my favorite iteration of Dracula is Van Helsing's Dracula because that is nostalgia as hell, nostalgic as hell. And if you want to hear a whole episode of a bunch of us hosts talking about Dracula of Van Helsing, go over to Spookocalypse, and we did a whole episode on Van Helsing that is already uploaded on there. So if you want to see a bunch of people going, oh my god, this is so fucking good. Ugh, gay awakening. Ugh, bisexual awakening. Please go do so because that movie is iconic and amazing. Any final
Hell
thoughts?
yeah. If you haven't read Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Do it.
then I don't do it. I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life, but you need to like stop what you're doing and go read it.
You gotta read the classics, my guy. My peeps out there, you gotta read the classics. The old school gothic horror. They paved the way for the authors of today.
Educate yourself, okay?
Yes.
Because it's because of Bram Stoker's Dracula that inspired so many other authors to write their own vampire novels. But I mean, hell, believe it or not, even Stephanie Meyer, she took inspiration from these kind of vampires, but she was just like, I want to write my own, so I'm going to make it to where vampires glitter.
Which we can go into a whole conversation on why I don't think it's that bad of an idea to do, but that's for another episode. If we ever do that, which God only knows if we are. I don't know. I'm not going to suggest that, but we're going to do the movies. We're going to do the movies someday on Spook, so look forward to that. But
we are probably going to end up doing them
at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're probably going to end up doing them here. After, we're probably going to end up doing them here on Book Watchers too, because
Yeah, I'm sure. At some point, I'm sure it's going to come across all of them.
Eventually, if we have nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, thank you guys for listening to today's episode of Oogie Spooky Dracula. Join us next time we talk about some more oogie spookiness of a town full of vampires that kill when this little Alaskan town is in 30 Days a Night. It's fucking terrifying. Until then, bye.
Bye.
This time I'm actually going to save it, I swear.